Okay. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Tammi Morrison with Unleashing Your True Self. And I am here with Straight Outta Savannah, Talking with Tammi podcast. And my guest is Famira Green. And I'm so excited for her to join me here. We are going to have a fabulous conversation. I'm so excited. So Famira, introduce yourself to the people.
Hey everybody. Hey Tammi. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And so I am Famira. I'm a soul strategist. I am the founder of Empress Nation. It is home of the modern day Empress. It is a place where women entrepreneurs are making transformational impact. And essentially I work with women entrepreneurs to embrace their voice, to remember their voice, and to do so in a way that they're able to attract their sacred tribe. Their messaging is authentic and they're able to create content from that space. And so I love what I do. I get to merge my spiritual gifts with my practical genius and make magic. So yeah, that's pretty much who I am.
That is fabulous. Famira is so good at what she does. I am a living witness. This girl is fire. I hope she knows, and I want everyone else to know that she's truly a gift. So Famira, how did you start this journey? What led you to deciding to create your own space?
So it's really an interesting journey. So when it comes to entrepreneurship in general, I've like always kind of been an entrepreneur, right? Like I was that entrepreneurial kid who was trying to sell candy and do all the things. Like I was the one when the school had the cookie drives and different things like that. Like I was the one that sold the most. I was in Girl Scouts selling all the cookies, like all the things. So it's always kind of been a part of who I was, but not really understanding that what being an entrepreneur could really mean. So I tried to do the whole 9 to 5 thing and it's like, why is this not working? I'm not really liking it. And so I actually started my official journey in the MLM side, right? And so I was a beauty consultant for, one of the big names in that. And so I did that. But what was different for me was I knew I didn't want to just be known um, as the beauty lady, right? Like I didn't want to just only be known by their brand name. And so, and the reason why I was doing it was for a deeper reason than just makeup, right? Like, so for me, it was really about helping women to embrace themselves and feel confident about themselves and to love themselves and really show up the way their soul wanted them to show up. So what happened was I began branding myself. And so I began branding myself and really branding my message and utilizing the products as the secondary, right? Like,
Yes.
it was really more about this message of empowerment. And yeah, by the way, I can sell you some lipstick, right? Like it was more of that type of vibe. So what ended up happening was people started coming to me asking me about my visual branding and who was doing my actual visual branding. And I was like, I'm doing it. And so then people started wanting to know, like, how could I do it for them? So that started out, a spin-off business in brand design that I actually grew and did well with, got to the place of being a full-time entrepreneur doing that. And then I just kind of realized like, this ain't it, right? Like I had built this business. At that time, I had worked with probably at least 50, 60 women. Up until that point, I was about 2.5 years into my business. By all the check boxes, I was successful. And I was on a trajectory to even accomplish like the monetary success that I desired. But I felt empty. It just felt like I had built what everybody else wanted me to build and not what I was actually designed to create.
Yes.
And so, so for me, I ended up going, and I don't necessarily recommend this part to people because I'm dramatic because I'm a Sagittarius and I have lots of fire in my chart. But I essentially went on an 18-month sabbatical. I was working still with like current clients, but I didn't take on any new business. Very rarely anyway. I wasn't like outwardly promoting. If someone came to me, I would kind of decide. But I really went on a spiritual journey of like rediscovering myself and discovering what I really wanted, how I wanted to create transformational impact in those
Yes.
that I touch. And so it spent, it kind of spun off to having this more direct work of helping women with their voice, right? Because a lot of us have muted ourselves, we've diluted our message
Yes.
for the comfortability of other people.
Mm-hmm.
And so really taking and owning that power back. So
Yes.
so that's the short version essentially of like how I got here to this place of now everything is now back to flourishing, back to thriving, and I feel like so much better in the work that I do, and like the impact, and I notice the impact is much greater.
That is powerful. I was just getting ready to say, seems like you transition and you feel better.
Mm-hmm.
Because that to me is one of the most important things about the work that we do, because it's like you can work in corporate America and you can make a pile of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's disputing that at all. However, when you can work for yourself and also be able to create impact in other people's lives, that is like the beauty of this work. Is so amazing.
Yeah.
So what do you find as the greatest takeaway from your journey? If you were to speak to someone else that was on this journey, what advice would you give them?
My advice is really to honor the journey, right? I think so often, and I've been guilty of this myself, just last night, right? Like, and, because there's different levels to things, but being guilty of being so focused on the destination that we ignore the journey, right?
Yes.
And so it's like, especially for people, like the people that I work with, and I know a lot of the people women that you work with as well, Tammi, that are visionaries or they're trailblazers. So, they see the world as this better place. A lot of times,
Yes.
they're naturally operating in the future without even realizing that they're operating in the future, right? And so because of that, they're always 10 steps ahead or 15 steps ahead. And oftentimes, because you're like that naturally, it is very easy to not be in a place of mindfulness and not be in a place of presence, where you actually are enjoying where you're at in this moment.
Yes.
We get so caught up in trying to get where we're going that we don't really celebrate or honor where we came from.
Yes.
And we don't realize oftentimes how far we've actually already came, right? Like, it's like, that would be my advice to people, is to not get caught up in like how far you have left to go, but like allow yourself to marvel at how far you've already come.
That is powerful, because I actually watched the movie and I did a live on it, because it struck me so about in the movie they said this particular group of people were always traveling and never arriving. And I thought, yeah, because that is how you feel sometimes when you're on this journey. Like, you're always doing stuff, you're always trying to get somewhere, and just like you said, in your mind's eye, you already see the thing. You see it. So it's already basically here for you, but you just have to get there. It's like the difference between manifesting in your mind and then actually having it in your hand,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's just so interesting, because it's like, and I'm guilty of this. Like, I'm guilty of like not celebrating myself enough, or not even allowing myself to sit in my accomplishments, right? Like, because I'm so on to the next thing, like, and even understanding like the level of faith that I have and the level of trust in my intuition and in the way in which I'm guided, of being able to look at it like, I never actually doubted that I couldn't have that thing. So that's why it was so easy for me to just check the box and move on, right? Like, because it was never just like, I knew it would eventually happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, I may not have known when, but I mean, I was expecting to check this box because I'm all about checking the box. And so it's easy to just be like, oh, okay. All right. So that's done. What's next? You know what I'm saying? Like, you
Yes.
know, I just think about even with cooking, you know, sometimes it's like, you have all the ingredients, so you know they're there, and it's just like, okay, but how often do we like take the time to really stir and observe what's happening with our sauce? It's just like, no, just put all the stuff in there. All right, hurry up, you know, and we
Yeah,
have the
yeah.
meal.
And make sure you have a, if you're making a cake, make sure you have a mixer now, because you definitely don't want to be doing all that stirring.
Right. Right. And it's
Yes.
like, but part of the fun sometimes is in the stirring, like,
Yes.
you know, and the level of appreciation you have for the cake
Yes.
too is greater
Yes.
when
Yes.
you've had to do that stirring. So
Absolutely. I agree totally, because I'm a, Southern girl at heart. So,
yeah,
and I laugh. I said, people always expect Southern girls to cook, especially on this side of the world. They're like,
yeah,
are you from the South? Oh my God, when you gonna cook? Like, all Southern girls don't cook, but
right,
this one happens to, because it's my generation. That's how they taught us. So yeah, I
right.
cook and I bake and all that. So I appreciate, those particular analogies.
Hmm.
But yeah, so I was thinking about something as you were talking, and I was like, I want you to expound on, like, talk about who is your ideal client, who is the person that you work with.
So for me, I work with what I like to call my sacred tribe archetype. My sacred tribe archetype is the trailblazer. And so I work with the trailblazer woman, the woman who is here to create that transformational impact, either by doing something that has never been done or doing it in such a unique way, right? Like, so even for the women that I work with that are in industries where people are doing things, they are literally disrupting their industries, right? Because there is a more conscious way, there's a more compassionate way to do a thing. And they are the women that really have looked at their industry and seen things that they don't like about their industries, and they have the audacity to want to change it, right?
Yeah.
And so and also women who are, I call them the modern day Empress for a reason. Like, Empress is not just like a cool tag name.
Mm-hmm.
It is really about women who are truly building empires. So a lot of my clients are multi-passionate. They may be women who have multiple businesses, or where they can see multiple streams of income within their one business, right? They want to do multiple things, and they may feel like, this doesn't make sense, like how I want to put it all together, but I just know that I want to do these three things, right? Like, or whatever. And then I'm the person that can come alongside them and show them exactly how it all fits, right? And that is, the idea isn't as crazy as they think it is. So,
Yes,
so
I
that's
do.
really, that's really my ideal client, is really a woman of purpose who is looking to create legacy, not just only for her immediate family, but whether it's for her community, her state, or on a global level, really is looking to leave lasting impact with people that they encounter.
That is powerful. That is so powerful. All right. So I have one question that I have been waiting to ask, because I wanted to wait for the
Okay.
right time, and this is the time.
Yeah.
So that question is, um, what lights you up? I mean, when you go to bed in the morning, we already established
Right,
that.
right.
When
For
you
those
go
watching.
right? For those,
Right.
those of us night owls here, what when you go to sleep and you lay your head down, what lights you up about your business? I mean, what makes you, want to, get your little bit of sleep and then jump up and jump back in. Because one thing about Famira that I have noticed is that she is super passionate about her clients, about her business, about the impact that she brings to the world. And that was one of the things that attracted me to her, because I saw, how she presented herself. She presents herself in authenticity, which is something that is missing a lot of times in this space, because there are so many people that bring stuff forth. And as you grow and as you learn and as you um, connect with your spiritual team, then you'll be able to see, how much bullshit is out there. And so
Right.
but Mara, I mean, when you first start out, everything is glamorous and glitzy and all that stuff. And then, you see these people hollering about this stuff. And then you realize, it's really subjective,
Right.
and you
Right.
realize that, you have to feel a certain kind of way about what it is that you do and, the impact that you want to make. And it doesn't depend on what other people say about how you should be. So, anyway, so the question was, what lights you up about what you do? I mean, when you think about it, what makes you say, what, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is, a beautiful thing. And you can even talk about if there was one particular client that you can think of that made even maybe a more massive transition than you thought that they would make.
So for me, the biggest thing that like lights me up about the work that I do is essentially seeing when women have the breakthrough remembrance of the fact that their voice matters, right? Like,
Mhm.
and not the voice that they've been told to have, but the actual authentic voice that's coming from within their soul. A lot of my ladies are very opinionated. They are very brilliant, both book smarts as well as street smarts. They are, so they're definitely educated, very well rounded, right? Like just their life's experiences. But along with a lot of times with those life experiences is because the reality is we live in a very patriarchal, uh, racially motivated, world that as women, and then, I would say probably about 80% of my clientele are Black and brown women. Well, they've been told that their voice doesn't matter, right? Or their
Yeah.
voice hasn't been appreciated. So to see them move into a space where they are more unapologetically themselves, right? In the way in which they show up in their business, the way in which they share with their communities, and having them to, send me an inbox message that's just like, girl, did you see the post I put today? I can't even believe I put it, I just wrote it and hit post, and I was, or they'll come to me and they'll be like, I started to delete my post and I could hear your voice in my head saying, if that's what your soul said, right, then write it, So those types of things like make me excited because I'm just like, because I know the power of authentic voice, right? Like, and
Yes.
I understand that we're all here to reach people, right? Like, so I feel like we all have um, are certain people that we have been destined to touch and we are destined to impact, and that we miss that opportunity when we don't show up fully, when we censor ourselves, or when we dilute what it is that we have to say, or we're constantly in our heads about like, oh my God, how are they going to take this? What are they going to say? And, and sometimes it's like, you just got to say what the hell it is that you're supposed to say, right? Like, and exactly how you're supposed to say it. And don't, sugarcoat it. Don't, try to sweeten it up. Like, it just is what it is. And
Yes.
it goes on both sides, right? Like there's some women who are just naturally very optimistic and very bubbly. And even them I've seen where they've tried to tone it down because people are like, you can't be happy all the time. Why not? Like that's their personality. So, so it's on both ends of the spectrum, right? Of
Yes.
just like owning totally like who you are. And so that when I see women stepping into that space more and more every day, from the work that we're doing together, like is like orgasm for me.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, yes, you better do it. I'm excited, you
Yes.
know. So, and it's really honestly like what keeps me going, because like being honest, entrepreneurship is not all rainbows and sunshine, you know. It's hard. So but seeing that and seeing that response, and seeing how they blossom within their own remembrance of who they are,
Yes.
it lights me up. Yeah.
I was going to say, you can tell because even your face has changed when you started talking about that. It's like, oh my God, I'm looking at like a ray of sunshine and like a light, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that is exactly why I asked you that question. Because I'm like,
It's so exciting to me.
this.
Like I just, because so many women are closed off and don't even realize it,
Mhm.
like even in my own self-awareness journey, every day I'm remembering like ways in which I have repressed myself,
Yes.
right? Based on experiences or how people responded to me.
Yes.
And so coming into that remembrance and being able to set myself free from those things, through shadow work, through journaling, through my different tools, like
Mhm.
it affects not only just me, but it affects the way in which I do my work. Like I tell my ladies all the time, like I just happen to be on step 5 in this particular journey, and y'all are on step 3, but like I'm still unpacking things. Like there's still things, that I'm like, okay, bigger, all right, show up more. What? Like, you think you have it down as like a ever evolving thing, or
Yes.
get back to that original natural intent of who we were designed to be before we were birthed here.
Yes. Yes. I 100% agree because I
Mhm.
I was speaking with someone yesterday and we were talking about the fact that how we felt like we weren't from here. And I was
Mhm.
like, yeah, you feel like that because you're not. I think it was, did I jump in a Matrix room? I was in a Matrix room. I don't know if you seen the Matrix room on
Mm-mm.
Clubhouse.
I
It was
haven't
a
seen that
room
one
they were
yet.
talking about the Matrix. Whether you
Oh,
take the blue pill or the red pill or something.
pills.
Yeah, and I just listened for a couple of minutes because it was intriguing, because I'm a Matrix girl. Y'all know about you,
Yeah,
but
yeah, I
I
love that
love the
movie.
Matrix and I'm waiting on the new one.
Yeah, I seen that.
So when I piled in there, I was like, wow. And I said, oh, okay, well that makes sense. And it got me thinking, you could have made a decision, you could have made another choice. You
Mhm.
could have decided, well, you know what, this is not working like I wanted to. I'm gonna stay in corporate America. I'm gonna continue to, be a cog in the wheel. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? So one last question. Where do you see yourself going in your business for the future?
Um, for me, I do, I do see it continuing to grow. I feel there's specific work that I know I'm being called to around the DNA activation, which I know, you talk about a lot, um, and how that complements the work that I do around the voice.
Yes.
And also even my education and learning around alchemy, itself and things like that. So so I'm excited to see what it all comes together, right? Like these different modalities that I've been called to, that I know that pieces of them will come together for me to create something unique to really help usher women into this next space. Because long term, my goal is to actually work with uh young girls, teenagers, early 20s, to help them get to this space a lot sooner,
Yes.
than what me and a lot of the women that I work with, you know, a lot of the women that I work with are like mid 30s to their 50s, you know, and so, and that has been a lot of the conversation we've had too, was, you know, of, I wish I would have gotten this earlier, or I wish I would have known that it was okay to be exactly who I am
Yes.
earlier. So, you know, so long term for me, I don't know, it looks like maybe a leadership academy, some type of place for the younger generation to be able to come to reinforce and encourage them to continue to allow themselves to develop exactly how they've been created. And then at the same time, continuing to help co-create with as many women as possible this new level of freedom and this place of transformational impact,
Yes.
that I like to call the Empress embodiment experience. And
Oh,
so, yeah.
I like that. I'm gonna write that one down. I really like that.
Yeah,
Empress
that's my frame, the name
embodiment.
of my framework. So, you know,
That's
that I
very
take women through.
That is so powerful. So, would you consider when you do this for the younger women, would you consider a nonprofit, or how would you do that?
I have always dreamt of having a nonprofit, and my my actual desire is to grow my current business to the space where it could be the donor for the nonprofit,
Yep.
so that even if other people wanted to donate, I wasn't in a place to have to solely
Yes.
rely on donations from others,
Hmm.
that it would be fully funded by an endowment from my paid business, right? So I'm working on that part first in order to move into the other. But yeah.
That sounds amazing. That sounds so good. This has been such an amazing conversation. I have
Yeah.
truly enjoyed talking to you, Famira, and I know that our audience is going to just love it.
Yeah.
So we are going to conclude this because I do try to keep these things not too long, because to be honest
Mhm.
with you, what I find is that people will watch them um, all of it much quicker if it's like 30 minutes or less. And
Yeah.
usually if it's longer than that, yeah, no. And so I because I actually tested that, because I've done some that were like super long, because I could talk to you for an hour, although that's just not what we're gonna do today.
Right. I understand.
Right, because we try to keep it. I try really hard, and I think about it like this. I know that especially now people are super busy, even though they're home, but a lot of people are still homeschooling their kids and all this
Mm.
stuff. So they might have 20-30 minutes to sit and listen to you, as opposed to an hour and a half or whatever. Or they'll put that thing on pause and be like, I'm gonna come back to it, and never do.
Right. Yeah.
So I try really hard to do that. However, so thank you so much. This conversation has been really thrilling. I wrote some things down. I'm going to
Mhm.
probably put them out there, because I really, really like how you arrived at your destination. And we didn't get to talk about, how you decided to go from corporate to owning your own business. I mean, what was that decision like? I got to share that.
um, well, I always tell people, so I was doing it's happened twice. Both times that I ended up going full-time entrepreneurship, I was working my business and working a 9 to 5. And both times I involuntarily became a full-time entrepreneur. So either through layoff or being downsized, right? And so each time, and so it was never, so the way in which I ended up becoming like a full-time entrepreneur was never like how I envisioned it, because in my mind I was going to work this job, I was going to save up this money, and I was going to have to stockpile income using my job to kind of fund my business. But both times, in regards to going full-time, like the job just went away, and was just like, okay. And then just being in this space of like not knowing that the right decision for myself was not to go look for another job, and then just allowing to continue myself to continue to follow the guidance, and things, grew, and it got to the point where I wouldn't have been like working in 9 to 5 would have been a detriment to my business.
Yes.
And so, but I wouldn't have left it on my own, right? Like, so it kind of had to happen the way it happened in
Yes.
order to like move me into this space.
So it was a spiritual guidance, basically.
Yeah. They was like, you don't need that.
Like, time for you to go.
We're going to take that from you. You don't need that.
I don't know about you, but my spirit guides do me like that. They're like, okay, so we told you, and we've been talking to you. We've been dropping the hints. We've been putting it in front of your face. Showing it to you in a movie. We've been giving it to you in a song, but you just ain't getting it. So this is how we go.
We done sent other people to tell you, like all kinds of stuff. So
you done have 50,000 readings about it.
Right. All confirmation on top of confirmation, and you still ain't acting right. And we're gonna take that. Thank you.
We gonna go ahead and we're gonna relieve you of that, so this way you don't have that issue again.
Right. Exactly. So,
but yes. All right. Well, anyway, we have truly enjoyed this conversation. In the words of Abraham Hicks, we have enjoyed this interaction immensely. But we're going to get off this line, and I appreciate everyone for joining and for watching. It's been such a blast, and I'm sure that after you watch, you will think it's a blast. But Famira is going to let you know how to find her and how to reach her when you are ready to reach out. Because after you listen to her, you're going to be ready to reach out.
Yes. So I can be found on all social media at I am Famira. That's F as in fabulous, Amira. I hang out mostly on Facebook and Instagram, so definitely make sure you check me out there. Also, you can, if you are an Empress, you can definitely find me on Facebook, the Facebook community, Empress Nation, women entrepreneurs making transformational impact. You can literally just search it, and it'll come up for you. Also, my website, www.famiragreen, just like the color.com. And so, feel free,
Clubhouse?
reach out. Yeah, I'm on Clubhouse. I am Famira on Clubhouse as well. I just joined the Clubhouse tribe. So definitely check me out over there. I'm really excited about some of the conversations that I want to have over there. So definitely check me out. So pretty much I am Famira will get you to me on any type of social media platform. Feel free to reach out, DM me. I'm not, one of those people that be tripping.
Right.
I'll guide you where you need to go once you DM me, and we can go from there. I would love to connect.
Sounds good. All right. So, y'all, I thank you for joining me. Y'all, this has been so transformational, even for me. Like I said, every time I do these podcasts, I learn. So it's not just about, you, it's also about me, because I actually learn something every person that I speak to. So this is one of the things that I enjoy doing. So make sure that you follow me and check out my podcast, Straight Outta Savannah, Talking with Tammi. And my guest Famira Green today is so transformational for women, So definitely when you're ready to reach out to her on whatever social media that you have. So again, we're going to go. Thank you so much for joining me, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye now.
Bye.